Unfortunately, there's going to come a time where we just have to put our cars away for a little bit, whether it be for an upcoming build for the car or if you store your car for the winter. Either way, extended storage for a vehicle requires a little bit of prep. What's going on, everyone? Giles from Fitment Industries, and on today's episode of the build sheet, we're going to be going over how to properly store your vehicle. Now, before we go ahead and get into it, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're looking for anything wheels, tires, or suspension for your car, check out fitmentindustries.com. And while you're over there, check out the giveaway we have going on right now with Kansei Wheels. This is our second giveaway with Kansei that we partner with. We're super excited about it. We got an absolutely killer shirt. I'll turn around and show you the back. Fantastic. I love it. I love it a lot. All you have to do is pick up the shirt right here, which is absolutely killer, and you're automatically entered in to win a free set of Kansei Wheels. Along with that, we'll also be making a donation to Hope for Paws at the end of the giveaway with some of the proceeds from the shirts and your additional donations going to them. The first thing you're going to want to do if you're planning on putting your vehicle away for any extended amount of time is to clean that thing inside and out. I'm talking about like picking someone up for a first date kind of detail. Make sure that the car has been completely dried off afterwards as well, and then move it to where you plan to keep it stored. Now, on the way of driving it to your storage unit or back to your house for your garage or wherever you're gonna plan on keeping it, on the way, make sure to stop by your gas station, fill up the tank, because storing your car with a full tank will prevent any moisture from gathering within the gas tank and could cause it to rust or anything bad like that, which could cause some other issues down the road. Now, your storage space is a whole nother animal. Now, what I mean by that is whether you're keeping it in a garage or a storage unit or at a friend's shop, wherever it may be, make sure that it is as free of moisture as possible. If possible, it's always a good idea to have some kind of mat or tarp laid down if you're storing it on concrete or anything like that, dirt, whatever it may be. Now, after you have the car cleaned, full of gas, in its resting place, you're going to want to change out your oil if you plan to have it stored for anything more than 30 days. Or at the very minimum, before you take it out again at the end of the storage, change the oil. But it's never a bad idea to change it once you put it into storage and then change it once you're done. It also wouldn't be a bad idea to add some sort of fuel additive to your tank once you fill up. Something like Stable is a solid go-to when it comes to adding any sort of fuel additive for some kind of storage. Once that's added to your tank, start your car, get it up to operating temperature, and give that additive the chance it needs to circulate throughout the entire fuel system. Now, the last thing that you want to have happen after months of storage and being able to not drive, you know, like your pride and joy, is to go and fire it up after a long hibernation and nothing. And then you realize like the mess that the mice have made all over your interior and your electrical system. Dryer sheets, spread them like fucking everywhere. Front seats, rear seats, glove compartment, exhaust, under the hood, everywhere. From personal experience, mothballs haven't really done the trick, and that's what a lot of people recommend. But dryer sheets, that's the key. They don't seem to like those very much. Either way, making sure that no little critters can cause like havoc on your car can save you the possibility of an extensive electrical headache in the springtime. All right, so where are we sitting? We got it cleaned. We got a good storage location. Topped off with gas and fuel additives. Rodent proof. We're almost there. I promise. Your battery is going to be the next thing that you're going to want to take care of. If you have an older vehicle, it can be something as simple as just taking the battery out of the car and keeping it somewhere warm, or maybe on a battery tender or something like that. However, newer cars can be a little bit trickier, and if you don't want to lose like all your radio presets, or like you don't want to reset the clock or anything like that, you're going to want to leave the battery in the car. But like I said, with newer cars, there are some other electrical features, and taking out the battery and leaving the car with no power for a period of time can cause some issues that will need to be reset. Of course, like nothing crazy major, but just more annoying than anything. It's gonna be like the windows that like pop down when you open the door, or any other kind of features like that. So if you gotta keep the battery in the car, a battery tender is going to be your alternative, otherwise known as a trickle charger. So now that you have your car all prepped, it's all stored away, all tucked away nice and neat, there's a couple things that you're gonna wanna keep an eye on while the car is in storage. And the first thing would be the tire pressure. Now, tires will naturally lose air pressure over over time, especially with changes in weather or temperature and all that kind of good stuff. So to keep your tires from getting flat spots, it's a good idea to check the air pressure every now and then and inflate as needed. Another thing to keep in mind too is that make sure that you don't use your parking brake when you park the vehicle. So what happens is parking brakes can seize if they're engaged for too long. The pads can like seize to the rotors, or the cable can get like stuck, all kind of not good stuff. And that's really pretty much it. There's nothing too crazy, nothing too hard, just requires some time to make sure that everything is good to go. Now there are some things that you may have heard about storing vehicles, and a couple of them kind of controversial in the sense that if it's good or bad for your car to do that while it's like in storage. Number one would be that you need to start the car every now and then. Now typically this is because the thought of running the engine and all that kind of stuff can let the car breathe in a sense. Now whether or not this is good for the car or bad for the car, just make sure if you do it, let your car warm up to operating temperature at least. Another tactic that seems to be controversial is that you need to suspend the car like off of the ground, get the wheels off the ground to prevent flat spots in the tires. Now usually this is done by just putting the car on some jack stands. With this, there is the argument of whether or not this is good or not for the suspension by letting it kind of hang and sag, having no load on the suspension at all. However, if you take the steps that we just talked about, you won't have to worry about that, and you won't have to worry about putting the car up on jack stands. Just by keeping the car clean, keeping it dry, keeping it charged, keep it mouse free, keep the tires inflated, you're good to go. And that's it. Like I said, really not that hard at all. Just take the steps and the precautions to make sure that your car is going to be ready to rock and roll whenever you are ready to take it out of storage. But that is going to wrap it up for today's episode of the Build Sheet. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please feel free to drop a comment down below on what you would like us to cover next. But I'm Jealous from Fitment Industries. Don't forget the Kansei giveaway that we got going on for the month of January. It's going to be great. Going to give away a free set of Kansei Wheels. I'm excited. Everyone's excited. Hopefully you're excited. But we'll see you later. Peace.